Ow.
That's me.
We're here. It is the season 5 finale of Jared and Al Watch.
Yep.
We've got one more episode to talk about Love Live. So you know what that means. Cue it up. Cue up the music. Al,
Yes.
now that we've come to the end of the road.
I want nothing more than to let this go.
Yes, I was gonna try to find a way to differentiate that line, but yes.
Yep. That is how I truly feel.
It's unnatural. You don't belong to me. I don't belong to you. That's how you feel about Love Live Squad Project.
It's true.
Welcome to the season 5 finale of Jared Now Watches, episode number 27. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Allen Ladium.
Hello.
And we are discussing Love Live, the School Idol movie.
Wrapping it up.
The final bit of School Idol Project.
We're going to New York.
We're going to New York. We're going to have an Empire State of Mind. Nyok.
Nyak?
Nyok. I'm walking here.
I thought you were trying to do like the cat thing.
No.
You were
That's the New
doing a
York accent, yes. Nyok.
Nyak.
I'm going to go see the Yankees. Yeah, this is the final bit of Love Live. This happens after the finale
It's
season
like
2.
immediately after this, yeah, where they're like in the club room looking at the computer.
Yeah, this is a weird movie. I had only seen it once before this, which is it goes in line with how I watched original Love Live. I only watched it once, and like, man, I don't remember. I didn't remember how much of this, like, the first half of this movie just is a thing where nothing really happens. Yeah. Also, we did watch the dubbed version of this film because that's the only legal way we could watch it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of jarring. Yes, it was kind of jarring to go from English to Japanese and then back to English again. It's been a wild road that we've watched this series through.
No kidding.
So let's discuss this film.
Let's do it.
We begin the movie where we get the young versions of the second years. Honoka's trying to jump over a puddle and messes up horribly, and then she jumps over.
Tori's like, it's impossible.
She manages to fly.
Yay.
And jumps over a puddle.
Yep.
After that, we come back to the present time where Muse gets a thing from the Love Live people. They're like, hey, we're going to hold a third competition. We're trying to do the Tokyo Dome, aka the Akiba Dome.
Akiba Dome.
But we need to we need a little bit of some more publicity to get the word out to be able to do that. So, hey, what if you guys went to America?
Yeah, so I was expecting them to like have to perform again, like at the Akiba Dome or something. And then it's like, by the way, you're going to America. I'm like, wait, what? Why are we in New York? I don't understand. And you're like, they'll explain it. But basically, they just like showed up at the airport, like, we're going to America. And I'm like, that's not where the dome is.
No, they moved the dome.
You're doing
to
it
America.
wrong.
Which still seems kind of weird. Like, why would you send them to America to help sell out the dome and raise publicity in Japan?
Insane. But anyway, we're going to New York.
Yeah. Also, they were conflicted to do this because Muse has disbanded as per what happened at the end of season 2. But they're like, hey, let's help out Love Live because of what they did for us. So we'll do that, and then we'll do this, and then we'll officially wrap things up. So we go to New York. They do a bunch of toury stuff. Umi gets real mad because they want to do toury stuff, and she's like, "No, we're gonna get robbed and shanked and murdered and all this stuff."
Well, and Honk accidentally gave her the wrong address, and they got like taken to a shady hotel, and
Yes.
she decided that like Honk was terrible and trying to get her murdered, and
Yes.
it was a whole thing.
It was a thing.
I stand by the fact that Umi sucks. She sucks. She's terrible.
They eventually do some like training along the way. They hang out in I would presume Central Park.
It's Central Park.
They find a little amphitheater and do some practice there, and then some very normal Americans show up and are like, "Hello, what are you doing? You are dancing.
Are you Japanese?
Are you Japanese?
I want to go to Japan."
Cool. Keep up the good work.
And turns out that Boobs McGee speaks English.
Yes, Nozomi.
Nozomi.
Because she's
yes.
she's a witch.
Yeah, she knows English. So she's like, "Yeah, we're doing great. Finger guns. Goodbye."
Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. At one point, we get a montage of where the first years sing "Hello, Hoshio Kazuote," where Rin gets to dance around in a fancy suit, and the others are just in their normal attires.
Yeah, that was so weird. I'm like, why did she get a fancy outfit? Nobody else did. And you're like, benefits of being center.
Yep. Honoka gets lost because she does not get on the right train.
Yeah, her card's not working when she's trying to swipe through, and so she has to like get more money on it, and she gets on the wrong train.
Again, I would have said just hop the rail because she's not brown or black or anything like that, so the cops wouldn't have done anything to her. Well, they might have because she's not white, but still, she probably has a better chance than certain other folks in New York.
I also don't understand like how she went to that platform when the other ones clearly went to the opposite direction platform.
It's Honoka.
Okay, yeah, fair.
It is Honk. She basically is wandering the streets trying to find her way, stumbles upon this lady who's singing and gets enraptured by her voice and is like, "Oh!" The lady takes interest in her because she notices she's also Japanese. And Honoka's like, "Hey, can you help me find my hotel? I'm so lost."
She's like, "Do you know the name of it?" "No, I know what it looks like." "Okay."
And then the lady's like, "Oh, I know what that is." The lady basically brings her back to the hotel.
They talk about how the lady was in a group before that disbanded. And
yes.
Honk asks a reason. She's just like, you'll figure him out someday.
Yeah. Everyone in Muse is very happy that Honoka's back. Honoka also has like this lady's microphone, and she's like, "Oh, I better go give it back because hey, this lady helped me get here." And everyone's like, "What are you talking about? There's no one behind you." And then she's like, "Huh? Where'd she go?"
So she just stole this lady's microphone. And then they perform.
They perform in Times Square and I think Central Park as well, where they perform Angelic Angel. One of my favorite things about whenever you see like games or just any form of media that takes place that like does a shot in like Times Square is like, how do they utilize that space that is so full of advertisements?
Yep.
Like, what kind of fake ads are you cooking up here to make this still look like Times Square?
Yeah, like Atome did in the Color Cross Malice Fandis. They're like, "Hey, let's just put all the other Atome games here. Like, here's Code Realize in Times Square." Like, okay.
They had like a fake Lion King poster for like the Tiger Queen, which clearly a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Speaking of, man, Nick Cage is going to be apparently doing starring in that.
I saw that.
What a choice.
What a choice.
So yeah, that's where they perform to help Love Live, and then they come back to Japan.
Somehow.
They come back to Japan, and apparently everyone saw that performance in New York, and Muse are now super popular, even though they've won Love Live.
Yeah, like, apparently New York is how we get Muse popular.
But, like, I thought this was an interesting little idea, because, like, you don't really see it in Sunshine at all. Of, like, how does a group that wins Love Live deal with, like, the immense popularity that they're going to have now?
Right.
Because they're going to get swarmed. They're celebrities now.
Right.
And, like, Sunshine doesn't really acknowledge that for the most part, because they're, I guess, like, you know, Aqua are from a smaller town where everyone knows each other, so, like, you're not really going to have people mob you in the streets, because they're just going to be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" But since Muse are from Tokyo and that surrounding area, like, you know, people are just going to flock to them. So I thought it was interesting to see kind of, like, how they manage that, how they kind of come to terms with that, and figure out like, okay, what do we do now? Because oh god, we're popular, but also we still haven't told people we're disbanding, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
So they have to figure that out.
Kind of, yes.
While all that's happening, we get the third years perform their song, the question mark arrow to heartbeat. You know how that very much works.
Yep. I don't even remember that performance.
It's the best song in the movie, so you should remember it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I mean, it is the best song. I just don't remember the performance.
So they perform that because they're all trying to hide and be cool with their sunglasses.
Oh, yes. Now I do remember. I do remember now.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
And they want to run away.
Yes.
So yeah, they also are like, hey, we got to figure out what we're going to do about disbanding and everything. Do we want to keep going because our fans are like want us to keep going, or do we stick with what we originally thought? We're like, no, we're done. We don't want to continue this without the rest of the group. Which again, I think is actually like a really interesting thing that they're bringing up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's one thing that you could take away from this movie is that like it brings up interesting ideas of like idols and popularity and idols and like doing things for their fans specifically and for themselves, which is not really what you would expect coming out of this series in particular, that has not really had like a lot of interesting things to like question or ask or, you know, provoke the viewer in any sort of way.
Right.
So for once this there's a positive here.
One positive.
So yeah. They go back to school and Katori's mom is like, "Hey, what's up? What are you guys doing? You guys should continue." Cuz idols, yay. Also, the third years are just around the whole time at school.
In their uniforms still.
In their uniforms, even though they have clearly already graduated at the end of season 2.
It's so weird.
You don't have to be here.
Mm-mm. And even if you are there, don't wear your uniform.
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
so weird. I feel like that's one of the things that like you're just like kind of supposed to be like, oh right, we're just not supposed to talk about this.
Yeah.
Honoka's still kind of like figuring things out. Tsubasa from Arise calls her and is like, "Hey, you want to go on a ride?" And she picks her up in her limo, and are like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What's the Muse gonna be doing?" And she's like, "I don't really know. So you didn't hear this from us, but we were basically going to disband after Love Live, and then everything kind of just blew up, and now we're like, And then Tsubasa's like, so yeah, we're gonna go pro. We got like an agency lined up. We're going to keep doing the thing, which again is something interesting because like that's another thing Sunshine doesn't really bring up that much is like, you know, what do school idols do after they graduate and everything.
Right.
So she tells him that and everything, and then Honk's like, oh, I'm now out in the rain. This sucks.
Also, weirdly, like the limo for some reason has like the UTX logo.
Yeah,
in the back of the
it's
limo.
real
like,
weird.
What is happening here?
While Honoka's out in the rain, she hears a voice, a singing voice, and oh my gosh, it's the same singer she met before.
What?
Honoka's like, I have to thank you. I'm taking you to my house.
Also, I have to give you back your microphone
Also,
that I somehow
yes.
brought back from New York.
But then the lady's like, just kidding. I gotta go. This is nice. Thank you. Bye-bye. The lady asks Honoka if she's found the answer to her question yet. And then I think, I forget how she sets this up. She's like, she tells Honoka to like close her eyes and like make the jump or something. But then like they're transported to like this hillside area where she's like, oh, you have to make the jump. Make this leap.
Like you did before.
Like you did before. Yes, that's a specific thing that she mentions. And then Honoka makes the jump. Mm-hmm. She's like, I love school idols.
And her love of school idols propels her across the lake.
Yeah. Ellie sends Honoka a text and is like, so the third year's discussed it, and yeah, we still think the right decision is to disband.
Yep.
Which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the early parts of the film, when they first get the news of like, oh, Love Live wants to send us to America and everything, Nico's the first one who kind of speaks up and is like, hey, we voted to disband. We shouldn't be doing this.
I think so.
Which is again very interesting because she was the one who kind of fought tooth and nail to like as like one of the last people who would vote to disband afterwards.
Yeah.
And now she's the first one who's like, no, we should stick to our decision.
We made a plan. We made a decision to stick to it.
Which again is like just I think it's very interesting.
Yes, I agree with you.
But also it's just because Nico's very good.
Nico.
So Hanukkah wakes up the next morning. She goes to the roof of the school, not just on her roof. Everyone's there, and Hanukkah's like, hey, why don't we do a concert with all the surrounding idols as a celebration, and that will be our goodbye to everyone. What if we call it a school idol festival? She goes to UTX, tells the idea to Tsubasa, who's like, yeah, let's totally do this. And they basically kind of work together to spread the word out to all the other school idols around the country. And some of them are a little like, I don't know about this. And Hanukkah's like, what if I go out and meet them all? So we get another montage where Future Style plays. Mm-hmm. They use Maki's money as train fare, and they go out in groups of 3 to go out and talk to various idols.
I love that they just decided, like, oh, we're just going to use Maki's money.
Maki's like, I'm not a bank. No. So they do all that. They all work together to work on costumes, on Maki and Tsubasa work on the song together, which Nico gets very jealous of. And then eventually they all group together in Akiba, and they're ready to do the thing. The day before the event, Hanukkah gathers everyone together and is like, hey, after this, Muse is disbanding. This is it. This is our final performance.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
The end.
The end. Also, Hanukkah's sister and Ellie's sister are working together, and they'll be in the show as well. Because they're baby idols.
Baby idols.
They go to Akiba all together. Muse does. They race there. And then Hanukkah gets distracted by a flower petal. And then she starts dancing along the way. And then she's like, oh, hello. Once they get there, everyone's already dressed in costumes.
Awful costume.
They part the sea of idols and let Muse walk down the middle, and then they perform Sunny Day Song.
And it's so weird because like Arise is supposed to be part of this, but they're just sidelined.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Muse featuring like a bunch of idols dancing on the sides.
Again, I will point out that it is still baffling that they didn't just copy this idea for Love Live Fest and have all 3 groups, or all 4 groups, I should say, perform Sunny Day Song together, which is something like, I think a few years back at one of the School Idol Festival Thanksgiving panels, like Aikion was like, hey, at some point, I want to do Sunny Day Song with like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do it! What the heck? It's garbage. Regardless.
It's because they realized that the song is basically heaven is a place on earth.
I mean,
and they're like, oh, that's too close. We're going to get sued for copyright.
I mean, it's not stopped them before.
I know.
So yeah, that is basically how we wrap this up. Then we do a time skip, which confused you very much.
I was so confused.
So we see Yukiho and Elisa. They are 3rd years now. They are now the basically the president and vice president of the School Idol Research Club. They are doing a welcome speech for the incoming freshmen, and they basically kind of give a history lesson of Muse and how they saved the school and everything, and like what they mean to the club and all this sort of stuff. And then the movie concludes with a performance of Bokotachi wa Hitotsu no Hikari, which is presumed essentially to be Muse performing that at the Tokyo Dome at 3rd Live.
Which is hilarious because it's like, this was their last performance ever. And it's like in a weird floating flower in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, what is happening?
I mean, to be fair, like Next Sparkling also kind of does the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it goes into like just some weird
void.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how Love Live ends.
Yep. It's over. It's done.
That is it.
Thank God.
Before we get into Al's deep thoughts about this series, let's talk about some notes and trivia because there's a whole lot.
Yep.
There's a scene early on where Maki's father is like dropping her off. Apparently, the car that her father's driving is a Jaguar XF 5.0, which obviously it's a rich person's car. So yeah.
Oh, we didn't even mention Honkstad the whole time.
Oh yeah, Honkstad was very good.
The greatest character in the entire movie was Honkstad.
Has his back out. Oh, at one point he just pulls out like 6 light sticks.
Yeah.
Like he's Anju. I was like, heck yeah.
Oh, Honkstad was the MVP in this one.
There's also, I think, a scene where like after they come back from New York, they're talking about like, oh, you know, we're feeling real iffy about being famous and everything, and then like it cuts to Honk's parents who are like, there's like a girl comes in like, oh, I thought Hanukkah would be here, and she's like, oh, Hanukkah Kozaka, you mean our daughter? And it's like they have like this whole song and dance, and then the dad's out there just like, wow, welcome. Like they just go full in on it.
Yep, they absolutely do. Which, like, you know, no shame in the game, man. They're gonna get lots of business because of that.
Yeah.
And also, like, obviously, he is a very proud dad.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue, Jaguar.
Yeah. Here's the one we were going to talk about before we start recording. There are many differing fan theories about the woman who helped Hanukkah while she was lost in New York City.
Okay.
One theory, which is the one you basically presumed, is that she is simply a future version of Hanukkah, as their personalities, actions, and appearance have a resemblance to each other's. They both consider heavy issues, are both clumsy, and have blue eyes and orange hair, albeit different shades. Near the end of her second appearance, the woman tells Hanukkah to fly just like you did back then, referencing Hanukkah jumping a large puddle at the start of the movie, which suggests that she knew about some parts of Hanukkah's childhood. The sequence, however, was shown almost immediately afterwards to be a dream, which makes perfect sense because it involved Hanukkah teleporting from the middle of Tokyo into a plane next to a small pond, far from any buildings or city sounds. Additionally, when Hanukkah asked about her singing career, she informs Hanukkah that she and her friends had formed a group in Japan. However, the group was later disbanded, strongly implying about the dissolution of Muse.
Mm-hmm.
The other,
my hair changed colors when I got older, so like it happens, but that's theory I subscribe to. Anyway, continue with the theories.
I wonder if there's any, like, do they have a credit for that lady at all?
I don't know.
They do. It's a different voice actress, though. But again, like, your voice will get deeper when you get older as well, so.
Right.
The other theory consists of the woman who is actually Hanukkah's even older sister, which is previously mentioned in the September 2011 issue of Dengeki G's magazine.
What?
Which that doesn't make sense, because obviously they would know each other at that point.
Right.
The final theory was that she was simply a figment of Hanukkah's imagination. No other individual within the movie saw the woman, and in fact, when Hanukkah turned to thank her after finding her way back to the group, hoping to introduce them to her, she was no longer there. No other member of the group saw her. In the alleys where she was performing, no one was watching her or even acknowledging her. In New York, she was the only Japanese individual Hanukkah encountered outside from her own group. In Japan, she featured heavily in one of Hanukkah's dreams, although that could just mean that she left a heavy impression on her. This is slightly incorrect, though. In New York, there were a group of people who cheer her when she finishes singing, means she was clearly seen and heard by these people. So there you go.
All right.
I think the theory that, like, it's a future version of Hanukkah that, like, kind of just, like, Hanukkah manifests, essentially.
Yeah, that's
as, like,
that's
this ideal version of herself to try and, like, figure out a way to kind of help her in her current dilemma makes the most sense. Not like, oh, it's her sister, which that makes zero sense. Or, like, of course it's a figment of her imagination. If it's, even if it's not just, like, a future version of herself, but especially if it's a future version of herself, like, no one's going to see that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Wait, she has an older sister?
Apparently, in one of the magazines, they say that. But it's not mentioned in the anime, so.
No.
All right.
Yeah, it was. I'm still subscribing to the whole future Hulk.
I mean, it makes the most sense, especially because, like, how similar they look.
Well, and again, the phrase of, like you did before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't say that and, like, not make it a thing.
Right. Anyway, continue.
During their first dinner in New York, Kotori has an entire cheesecake to herself, which is her favorite food. Additionally, she is the only member of Muse that has her cup of water almost empty while everyone else's is still full. This small detail is a reference to her voice actress, Aya Uchida, who is often caught on camera drinking water during live concerts while the rest are talking.
That's an odd reference.
I don't know if that's actually a reference or not, or just, hey, she was thirsty. She hydrates.
Good for her.
During the first scene when Hanukkah hears a children's choir as she jumps over the large rain puddle, the song being hummed is Sunny Day Song.
Huh. Interesting.
In the original Japanese version, the mystery girl sings As Time Goes By from Casablanca when Hanukkah first meets her. In the international home video releases, however, the song is changed to an original song called Stars Come to Me in both Japanese and dubbed English audio. Both are sung by the same voice actress.
Huh.
Rights issues.
Yep.
Although not physically appearing, Maki's father made a cameo in this film.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
This is the second time Maki does the Nico Nico ni gesture. The first one is from the Moguto Love de Sekenchu PV.
Mm-hmm.
Kotori has the same yellow pill that she previously used from the Music Star, Wonderful Rush, No Upperclassmen Allowed, and Wonder Zone episodes and MVs.
It's a what?
Yellow pillow.
Oh, yellow pillow. I thought you said pill, and I'm like, what kind of pill is she
doing
taking?
Pills. In the Bogotachi wa Hitotsu no Hikari segment, each of the 9 individual members had symbolic flowers and their respective flower-themed backgrounds. Maki had a rose, which is passion and to be in love. Ren had a chrysanthemum, which means optimism and hope. Hanayo had peonies, which means bravery and good fortune. Hanukkah had a sunflower, which is radiance and shining brightly. Kotori had a narcissus anemone, which is sincerity and self-esteem. Umi had hydrangeas.
Hydrangeas?
Yes, which means pride and dignity. Nico had pink camellias, which means yearning and desire. Nozomi had bellflowers, which is humility and gratitude. And Ellie had forget-me-nots, which means undying love and everlasting connections.
Okay.
There you go. During the Sunny Day song
Try it again.
During the Sunny Day song sequence, this marks the first appearances of Ren's mother, Hanayo's mother, and Umi's mother.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
And this film marks Maho Matsunaga's last voice acting appearance as Irina Todo prior to her retirement next year, or the following year, I guess. And then
who is that character?
She's in Arise.
Oh, okay.
Continuity notes.
Okay.
Umi and Kotori play old maid in their hotel room since A New Me.
Mm-hmm.
In one scene in an ice cream shop, Lily White appeared again since Season 2, Episode 2. And then in Season 1, Episode 2, Hanukkah mentions that 2 important things Muse has to worry about are how to sign autographs and how to disguise themselves while walking around town. Both of these things are seen in the movie. The autographs are seen when Muse returned to Japan, and the idols disguising themselves is seen in the question mark to heartbeat number. And that's it. Them's all the notes and trivia about Love Live, the School Idol movie, a film that came out on June 13th, 2015. It's 5 years old now. Did you know this film won some awards? Because you're about to. The movie was awarded one of the 5 outstanding animation awards handed out at the 39th Japan Academy Awards. Though it failed to clinch the most outstanding animation award, it was awarded the Animation of the Year award at the Tokyo Anime Festival 2016. And then on June 13th, 2019, the film got a special theatrical re-release at the Shinjuku Piccadilly Cinema as part of the film's 4th anniversary.
Wild. Who gave this awards? Why would they give this award?
Hey, let me look something up here. See if I can find like how much this movie made. Because that would be probably worthwhile to tell. No, I don't want to look at the image. Image.
The image.
There we go. Film. The film was the 9th highest grossing Japanese film of the year in Japan with over 2.8 billion yen, which is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
The limited special edition Blu-ray sold 193,769 copies on its first week, becoming the weekly #1 animation Blu-ray in the country of Japan. By January 24th, 2016, it sold 220,772 copies. And the film was released theatrically in South Korea on September 3rd, 2015, and the United States on September 11th, 2015. Never forget.
Never forget.
Apparently, it was the #1 film in Japan for 3 weeks until the 4th week when Avengers: Age of Ultron came out and took the spot. In the U.S., the film grossed $115,840, and then grossed $28 million worldwide.
That's more than I would expect for the U.S.
Yeah, especially in 2015.
Yeah.
But that's it.
We did it.
Wipe our hands of Love Live School Idol Project. Ow!
That's me.
You've probably been waiting a long time to talk about this.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you've been listening along, you're probably not going to be surprised by what Al's going to say.
Correct.
Al, tell me your thoughts on Love Live School Idol Project.
I don't know how people like this. I really don't. Like, I've seen so many people who like complain about Sunshine and like how the narrative is terrible and the characters are terrible and da 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 da. And I'm like, how in God's name can you think that this is much better than Sunshine that actually has like character depth and stories and like interesting developments? Whereas this is just like, I don't know, it's kind of like a cake that looks nice on the exterior, but it's actually been sitting out for like a week, so you don't really want to eat that cake. And also, like, the cake will at one point make fun of you for being fat. It's just, I don't know, it's so like surface level, and like I get that they had to be safe because it was a new series.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not interesting. And like 2 of the characters are atrociously bad. And then you have other characters that just kind of exist and don't really do much.
Yeah.
Like Rena gets 1 episode that she's like, oh, I don't feel girly enough to do this. And then you don't really know anything else about her other than she likes cats and likes to run.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, it's weird that they don't seem to really know each other at all. I don't like the music. Like, there are a few songs every once in a while that I'm like, oh, that's pretty okay. But for the most part, I'm just like, ugh, this is really bad. I will say it is a shame, and I've said this to you multiple times, it is a shame that Umi's voice actress is so good because she plays the worst character. Hands down. Like, her voice actress in Japanese is amazing. She's such a good singer and she's really talented, but her character blows.
That's how she was able to marry a wrestler.
Yeah, valid. I don't know. I don't like it. I think the only real redeeming factor at all of the original Love Live is Nico. She's the only thing that makes it watchable. And I stand by that 100%.
She's a gremlin.
She's a gremlin and she's great. And she's the only one that actually has any kind of layers at all. Like, you see a lot of like insecurities and you see a lot of her projections. You see a lot of her even like in this movie standing up and saying like, you know, this is what we decided, we're gonna stick to it. Like, she's the only character in the entire series that actually has anything to her. I don't like Love Live. I like Love Live Sunshine, and I hope I like Niji. But like the original one is not good.
Do you think, I mean, this is obviously very much a what if type question. Do you think your opinion would be different at all if you saw this first?
I don't know. The issue that I am afraid of, which I'm glad that this is not the case, is I'm afraid that if I had watched this first, I never would have watched Sunshine.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that really, and we've talked about this a lot, like one of the things that really drew me in on Sunshine is it's like girls supporting girls like actually being friendly with each other, and like you don't get that here.
I mean, there's probably a reason why I pushed hard on Sunshine and not this.
Yeah.
For you to watch initially.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a hard thing for me to answer.
Yeah.
But I really do think that I would probably have been very hesitant to watch Sunshine if I had watched this first, because I did not like this.
Yeah.
Like it was painful to get through at points.
I will say, because obviously my experience is a little bit different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
This is like we mentioned probably early in this series. This is my second time watching this through, and I came to the series through School Idol Festival. I played that first, and then eventually was like, oh, I should probably watch the anime of this.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is fine. I enjoy this. But that was like 4 or 5 years ago, because it was before Sunshine came out. Coming back to this show, like I can't argue with anything you just said. Like, this show is rough.
There's also a lot more fan service in it, which is really annoying.
Yeah. Like, that was something I knew going into this. Like, that's not anything that truly surprised me or something that I forgot or anything. But yeah. Again, like, I agree basically with everything you'd said. Like, it's just, there's not a whole lot that's like super duper interesting in this. The storytelling is just, like we said, just pretty safe. Like, they don't really do a whole lot that's like genre bending or anything that like kind of challenges preconceived notions or anything until like the movie, I would say, which is surprising in a sense, because like you going into the movie, like I didn't really remember a whole lot of the movie outside of like the Hanukkah meets a mysterious lady thing, the good song in the movie, and then they go to New York.
Yeah,
that was basically it. Like, I was kind of like, oh, this is probably going to be kind of more of the same, but then like they have the whole like B plot when they come back to Japan. I was like, this is actually fascinating that they're kind of trying to tackle this kind of subject matter. And it, like I said, like it's not something I would have expected from this series at all. But again, like outside of that, like God, just think of like how many filler episodes we went through where just nothing happens. And it feels like there's like probably like 40% of the TV series where you have to kind of just go through that.
Yeah, and I mean, like that one episode with the whole like weight loss thing is just so offensive and terrible. Like
it's real bad.
It's real bad. And like they had a real opportunity there to actually say something interesting, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
And so they just played into the whole like trope of, oh, you know, idols, we gotta be super skinny and hot all the time.
Yeah, I don't think you could get away with doing that today.
Yeah, I don't either.
But yeah.
It just felt like bullying.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, like you said, like I came out of this series with way more, like a much better appreciation of Nico. Like that was the one kind of like redeeming factor. It was just like, Nico's great. She is the best character in this series.
She deserves better.
She is very good.
Very good.
But yeah. This show is rough.
Yep.
I don't think I need to ask you to rank the series that we've watched, because I know it's just like, hey, remember what you said in last season? We'll just put Love Live under everything.
Yep, basically.
That's all you got to do.
Yep, that's it. This one's my least favorite of what we've watched so far.
Yeah.
Easily.
But I still think it was important to watch this series just because
I agree with you.
You know, we've done so much with Sunshine and all that sort of stuff. Like, you have to go back and like see where the roots of the series come from and everything to gain a better appreciation for series that come later.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was important to watch. I just will never watch it again.
Yeah. Well, with all that being said and done, let's talk about what's going to happen next week.
Okay.
Which is nothing.
Yes.
We are going to be taking a 2-week break because for season 6, we're going to stay in the Love Live universe. Because at the beginning of this series, we mentioned, hey, if the Nijigasaki anime starts, we will cut into this, do that, and then finish this up.
Yep.
Well, the world being the world, that didn't necessarily happen, but the Niji anime will be airing in fall on October 3rd. That is the start date for it, so we will take 2 weeks off in between, and then on October 7th, we will return for season 6, where we will debut the first time of us watching an anime that's currently airing.
Yeah, that'll be wild.
So that's going to be a little bit interesting and a different dichotomy and stuff, because we can't really record stuff in advance like we usually do for these series. But yes, season 6 will be Jared and Al watch Love Live Nijigasaki School Idol Club, or whatever they officially decide to title that in English. But yeah, we'll watch the Nijigasaki anime. And I figure that's like the easiest way to do this, instead of just like, let's start something for 2 weeks and then shelve it for 12 weeks and then come back to it.
No, I think that what we're doing is a better idea.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a little bit weird because we already took 2 weeks off a few weeks back because of technical difficulties, but we're going to take another 2 weeks off, and then we will turn stronger than ever as we watch our first currently airing product, where we don't know how long it's going to take, if we'll have to return later for a season 2 or for a movie or whatnot.
Wild.
Everything's going to be up in the air. Mysteries abound.
The only mystery that is not a mystery is that it is more Love Live.
Yes, that is true. So yes, October 7th, we will return for season 6. So mark that on your calendars or wherever you keep dates, or just, I don't know, pay attention to Twitter or the website. That'll tell you. Or your feed. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up season 5. We are done
Nico
with
deserve better. Justice for Nico.
We are done with Love Live School Idol Project.
Thank God.
Our 5th series, we can mark off the list. Still waiting on 2 episodes for other series, because the Sailor Moon movies are finally coming out next year.
Yeah.
Until those get delayed again.
Yeah.
And then the Shirobako film came out. We just have to wait for that to come to home video and eventually watch that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it for season 5.
Yee.
So if you would like more from us, go to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Anime Checkup, Season Anime Checkup OVA. And you can find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. So thank you again for listening to us talk about Love Live. We will see you in 2 weeks for the first episode of season 6 of Jared and Al watch Nijigasaki Love Live School Idol Club stuff.
Something.
Title subject to change.